Hey there, Shauna from Skip Blast here, and today I'm going to show you how I use both Koala Writer and Kappa to produce AI content for my sites. I think that both of these tools have, their advantages for different types of content. So I'm going to walk you through each of them, kind of show you my process, what I like each one for, basically their strengths and weaknesses, so that as you are creating AI content for your sites, you kind of have a better idea of which tool to use for which purpose for your site. So let's just dive right in right now and get started with Koala. I actually started using Koala about a year ago from when you're going to see this video, on my channel. Now, initially, I was very against using Koala because I didn't really like the output. I didn't find it, to be high quality enough to use on any of my sites. So I was definitely a slow adopter. And if you'll check out here the pricing for Koala, you can see it starts as low as $9 a month. I don't recommend you try it out on a plan quite that low because I'm going to tell you that you're going to need to use at least a GPT-4, though I do prefer using the turbo version of 4. And here's the thing, if you're using 4, you get charged 4x, I believe it is, or maybe it's 5x the credits, because Koala does work on a credits-based system. And if you're going to go for 4 Turbo, then it's only 2x. Plus, you're going to end up getting better quality content from the Turbo version of that. Now, if you are just getting started, don't really know what you want to do, I'm going to say start with that professional plan at $49 a month to give it a try, because I feel like you need to create not only more than one article with Koala, but more than one type of article, just so you can get an idea of is this really for me? What is going to be my use case for it and things like that. They do have higher plans. As you can see here, these are the other standard plans. Myself, this is where I am usually at when I'm buying plans from Koala. Depending on my needs for the month, I'm either at scale 2 or scale 3 there. So that's the kind of output that I am doing, on the regular with Koala. Now let me get logged in here and I'll show you exactly how I'm using it. Okay, you can see here that I am logged in. I have blurred out part of the sidebar here on the left so that you cannot see the titles of the articles that I've been creating for my sites with Koala. Now, I do have a preset saved here in Koala. If you're going to be using Koala regularly, I definitely recommend that you save your presets just to, speed up the process. We'll go through these. I have a dummy project name here for you so that you will not see, like I said, any of my site names or projects or anything like that. So like I said, definitely when you are using Koala, go for 4 Turbo. I have used 3.5 on some projects, and they have ranked even without being edited. But for most people's purposes, and honestly, to give yourself, the best possible chance of ranking, and keeping people on your site, you're going to want to go with 4 Turbo. And like I said, 2.5 times more words. So definitely keep that in mind when you're doing the math in terms of which plan you want to use. We do have a lot of different options here in terms of, what type of article can I create. Personally, I find that Koala is the best at doing those type of Amazon product roundups that you see on affiliate sites. I've tried to replicate the process with other AI content tools. No one does it better than Koala, at least, at the time of recording this. You can see also you can do single product reviews. It does pretty well at that. I have not tested out the YouTube video to blog post option. I did test out the rewrite blog post option. It works pretty well. The last time I tested it was probably a few months back, and it didn't pull in everything, just right in terms of what to rewrite. So I don't know that I would use that too much, in terms of basically rewriting content like that. I think it's probably going to end up, wasting a lot of the words in your monthly plan with them. What I primarily use Koala for, like I said, are the product roundups, though I do like to use it for blog posts because I find that often it does a little better than Kappa, and those are honestly my 2 favorite tools for AI blog writing. Just because I really like how Koala, brings up an outline for me. It almost seems like they're kind of they're using the AI to kind of analyze what's currently out there and coming up with their own, H2s and things like that. Whereas with Kappa, you're going to see it doesn't really quite work like that. So I feel like you get, I guess in essence, more of an original article when you are using Koala to write your blog post. The downside, of course, is that it does end up costing you more than Koala because you have these monthly plans versus, using the API key that you can get from OpenAI. Go on down through the rest of the settings. You put in your target keyword right here. I always select AI-powered SEO optimization. I just find that I get the best results from that. If you wanted to do internal linking, from your site that you actually have, you can put that in this box here, get that all set up for you. Now, most of the time here for the AI images and YouTube videos, I'm just going for images, though I will tell you that the images that come from Koala are not always great. Some things they're really good at, like animal photos and things like that. Not good at illustrations most of the time. So just keep that in mind if you are considering using Koala for the images. Now, one thing though that I do really like is when you are running the article, the images are created for free as part of the article, whereas you can go to Koala Chat and create standalone images, but that does cost you, as part of your plan. You do have a limit each month. So normally what I do is I have Koala create the images for me, when I'm creating the article, because there is no extra cost. I would say maybe 40 to 60% of the time I actually end up deleting them and getting them again. But it's always worth trying, right? Because it is included. And you can see here the different types of images that you can get. Photo premium quality. Those tend out to be pretty good. I haven't really done much with the other types. I do have a gaming website where I've used the anime style, and that's come out pretty well. So whatever you need may be different here. One thing to pay attention to is the max images, because the more images that are being created as the blog post is being created, the slower the whole process is for getting that content created for you. I always just leave the article length as default, because honestly, these articles are so cheap to create that I just want to see what the output is, make sure it covers everything. But if you're actually, trying to manage the number of words in your plan, you can select a specific word count range. You've got several different tons of voices that you can choose here. For me, in my sites, I normally just do SEO optimized. I've played around with some of the others, so you can get some pretty unique stuff from them. But for most of the time, I just go with this. You can change different languages if that's, if you're doing sites in other languages, or just want to maybe translate some of your own content or something like that. I'm always targeting the US, but you can select other countries. For me, I always choose second person point of view unless I'm doing product focused content. I definitely always keep the use real-time data selected. Just leave this source filtering as default. I always use the outline editor, and for the facts section, I don't always use that for every article that I create, but I do like to see what the sample outline is that comes up for the article. That way, I can kind of see, do I want this in the article or not? Because you can easily remove it when you're looking, using the outline editor here. There's also some more advanced options here. So I normally don't really fill anything out here except for the extra section prompt. This is just the default prompt that I always start with. Usually I end up customizing it for each site that I'm working on, but it's just, basic, simple stuff. Honestly, a lot of the stuff is no longer really necessary because, back when it was just 4, it repeated a lot of stuff, and it doesn't really, seem to do that as much anymore, but I've just been lazy and not changed it. I do usually disable the conclusion on all of my articles. That is because I'm often ending articles with those facts, or when the introduction is, which you'll see when I run some sample articles here, I find that AI does really terrible introductions for the most part. They're too long. Often I can just take something from that introduction and move it down to the bottom of the article, and kind of make that the conclusion of the article. Now that I've showed you the way I do just the standard setup of all of the content that I create, which I'm just doing a regular blog post on Koala, I do want to show you, what happens when I'm creating an article, that entire process. So I'm going to pause this video for just a second here in the recording so that I can come up with a keyword where I can create an article for you in real time, and you can see what that output looks like. Okay, considering, the topic of Skip Blast in this channel, I decided to pick a target keyword that would basically be relevant to this audience. So I just, chose something super basic, how to make money from a blog. So it's just gonna be a standard blog post. Now let's see what Koala comes up with for the outline editor. Okay, while this is running, let's jump over to Kappa and I'll show you that process. Okay, so I'm all loaded into Kappa. I got one of the early lifetime deals, which was honestly a steal for this product, but I do pay the extra monthly fee for the power user, which gives me some of the same capabilities that I have in Koala, namely being able to access the internet live. At the end of this video, we'll look a little deeper into what all you get with that upgrade, but let's just dive right in right now and starting on the same keyword with Kappa. Okay, so I think this was the keyword I put in the other tab. I don't honestly remember. Let's just dive in and get started on this. You can see that I'm under Create Content and Single Article Generation. This is just what the main screen looks like. So let's just click Next and get this one running. Now, I will say that for both of these tools, it takes a little time for things to run. Like I'll click back right now on the Koala tab and you can see it's still running too. Oh, look, that was just populated. So let's just go through here. We've got an introduction, which I definitely want to leave. So choosing the niche, I don't know that I want to leave this, but let's see what the rest of the outline looks like, because the keyword I put in, I believe, was how to make money from a blog. This is telling us basically more like setting up a blog. This happens a lot. Like sometimes you have to refine the keyword that you put in there for it to create your article. I don't really like going back though and creating new keywords just because this entire process of getting the actual outline seems to, be a real bottleneck here. Let's see here, expanding your blog's reach. This isn't really the type of outline that I was thinking of. Let's look at the frequently asked questions and see if we can come up with a better option here. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, let's go back and change our keyword. Let's actually change it to ways to make money from a blog. And I'm actually going to copy this so that in case I need to paste it into Kappa there. We will start our outline again. Now let's hop back over to Kappa. So we can see that this obviously it's already done. It looks a lot different, you're going to notice, from Kappa. So I definitely want to make sure I select that I'm doing turbo here. And I've just paused this to select my preferred preset because I didn't want you to see, because I've named my presets after my websites for the most part. This is just my basic one that I use. And we will go through and look at what that looks like in just a moment. But you can see here, it's going to be just the same stuff that you saw me selecting on Koala. No key takeaway section. I want an introduction. I also want the fact. I want a featured image. This is actually one of the things that I really love about Kappa is if you enable this, it will create a featured image so that when you basically move the content to your website, the featured image is already there for you. This is different from Kappa, which does not do this, at least as of this recording, this really saves me a lot of time when I'm bulk, publishing content to websites and stuff like that. Now, I do want you to note there is a section here where you can add your own headings if you want. You can also upload them if you have some in a file, or you can use AI to generate some. Now, the reason why I pay for that extra monthly upgrade is so that I can see what is currently on page 1 over here in the sidebar. This is a lot like Phrase, if you've ever used it, where you can just go through here, do your research of what's ranking, what their issues are, click that plus button, and it will automatically appear over here on the side. So let's look through here and see if we can use any of this since I did change the target keyword. Again, I'm not really loving the output I got here. This one seems to be the best. So I like the way this looks, and so this is how easy it is. Like I said, if you've ever used phrases, it's going to be really familiar to you. So I like this. I just click plus, and then it appears down here. So we'll just go through these. And of course, the risk of this is you're just copying someone else's stuff, right? So you're going to want to tweak this, you know, either here in this outline creator or after you get the finished product on your site, so that you're not like basically copying other people's content just straight up. See if there's anything else I want to put here. So we have affiliate marketing, advertising. So we don't have sponsored posts. I'll pop that one over there. See if we see any. Okay, membership community. That's a good one. Yeah, I think that's probably enough for now. You know, you notice that some of these came over as H3s and some as H2s, so I have to go through, fix that real quick. Oops. Well, that was an accident, but now you can see what that looks like. Click that as well. Obviously, our numbering is a little messed up here, so we'll change this one to 7. And this one to 8. See if I notice anything missing that we could use. Looks like no. Okay, I think this looks good. We will run with this. We got our facts enabled. Now let's look at the presets that I already have set here for this one. I have then this pretty much the same prompt that you saw in Koala, just, you know, a basic ass thing that I put everywhere, but you do have other options here that you can change. Now this is one of the things I really love about Kappa as well. They are very familiar with all of these terms that we all know, always just basically are like screaming that this is AI content. You can add as many words in here as you want to be replaced. These are just the ones that I've put in that I see the most in the content that I'm creating. So that's definitely a great feature. Here we have the images as well. I keep this DALL-E 3 selected. What we're doing here is how to blog. Let's see what happens with pop art style. That might be interesting. No, quick note that Kappa does have an integration with Midjourney, but you only get that option once it's already been created and you go in to edit the article here. And in my experience, it is so freaking slow. It is not worth going through here to do that. So it's just something to keep in mind. So we've went through all of our options here. Go back to the front, make sure everything looks right. And then we just click generate article. Confirm we want to proceed. And it looks like I have not put my API key in here. So let me pause and take care of that real quick. Okay, so you can see that it is getting started. What I really like about Kappa 2 is it keeps you up to date here on the screen of what's going on and, you know, where it is in the process. One thing I do not like is there is no stop button. So let's say I'm like, oh shit, I put in the wrong keyword, or I've already run this keyword, I want to stop this. There's no stop button. So just something to keep in mind there. So let's hop back to Koala and see how that new outline looks. Okay, here is our new outline. It looks honestly not very different. This is when it would be really helpful if it was like Kappa and I could see what was ranking and just click stuff, but that is not happening. So we do have this here. Let's just delete this, delete this, delete this. So we have monetization strategies, email marketing, expanding your business, get rid of this. So we'll leave this. As you can see, you can just drag and drop stuff, which is really nice. We will keep this one. I don't like that one. Honestly, I really only like the 2, so we will keep the 2. And you can edit any of these that you like. You can add in background information, like if you want to put a URL in here or just like some paragraphs. Different prompts for the sections. Honestly, the extra section prompts I think are one of the things that's really valuable about Kappa about Koala compared to Kappa, because Like if I want something in a list format, but only in one of my sections, I can request that here in Koala, but I can't do that in Kappa. That's one of the failings that I've noticed of Kappa. And you can see that it's put in, different entities and keywords and stuff to make sure it gets covered. So that's just so you know you can do that. If you want to add more sections, you can do that here. We'll cancel that and we'll get this one started because it tends to take a little while. Now you notice it does have the stop button, which I really like, but it does take a while to get started here. So let's pop back over to Kappa. So it is generating the article. We are in part 6 of 8. So I do like seeing that. Like I said, though, I think I would prefer to see it the way Koala does it here so that, if I'm not liking the output, I can stop it and save those words. You can see it kind of comes up with some extra title information here, but it does keep your main keyword here, which I put in as ways to make money from a blog. Now here's what I was telling you about the images. You can see it's not looking too great, right? It's a bit weak. So I'm not a huge fan, especially for the illustration options here in Koala. The premium photo quality does good most of the time, although you'll get things like extra fingers. I got one once where there's just like a dog head mounted on a chair, which was really bizarre. But you can go through this as it is going, just to, like I said, if you want to go back up and stop it. Now they used to keep a word count here at the top. They removed that about a month ago, which I think was a really bad idea. I like seeing the word count as it is being created so that if it's going over the word count I want, I can stop it. So that's kind of a downer, I feel like, especially if you're on one of the lower monthly plans where you have a lower limit, right? Let's go back here and see how Kappa is doing. Okay, so now we are completely done. Remember, we chose the pop art style images. One thing I'm not a huge fan of when you get your articles created in Kappa is it totally rewrites your title. Not always for the better. I would say maybe most of the time not for the better. I do like that it tells you the word count at the end here. I don't really know if it matters with the 14-minute read or not. And then here we can see everything that I've put in. We got our pop art image, which honestly isn't that bad. We still have issues though with text often here, and I'm not sure what's going on here by the $sign. We get our table of contents, which is basically the outline that we had selected here to have created. One thing I really love is the really short intro. I told you that when I'm using Koala, I can often take something from the intro and move it down and make it a conclusion if I need to. I don't really usually I can't do that when I'm using Kappa, but that's not a bad thing because I really like these nice tight intros. As I've been using both of these tools, I find time and time again that Kappa does much, much, much better intros. And I also really like using Kappa with a humorous tone because it tends to come up with some really great stuff here, as you can see. Another pretty great image here. I would actually use these, right? Let's see here. Another one that's not bad. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be right here. Like I said, the text is really terrible. It's a pretty good looking article. Like I said, I don't mind the article, the images at all. It's a shame that I did not come up with the outline before I recorded this video, so they could have been identical articles. I think once I finish recording this, I will go back into Kappa and run you one with the exact same outline and see what we come up with. So overall, this looks like a pretty good article, not terrible. Pretty good images. I did limit my images to 3 because you do end up paying for the images, here in Kappa through the OpenAI API. You still get your articles pretty cheap. I'll have to log in and see. I don't know if I've created any other articles today or not, but we may be able to see how much this single article cost. We'll pause the video and we'll check that. Okay, so I'm in my OpenAI account. You can see that I've not been too active this month. This happens to be the only article I have created today, so we get a real live look here at the cost. You can see that the content, if I had not done any images, would have cost me 6 cents. The 3.5 Turbo, I assume, is what they're using to come up with your outline and stuff. Koala does something similar, although I think they use 4. Not 4 Turbo, just 4 to help to come up with your outlines. And then the embedding model, I assume has to do with the images. I'm not 100% sure, but the images, the 3 images plus the featured image, so a total of 4 images, 32 cents, all in. That one article cost me 38 cents today, 2,600 words. Like, come on, how crazy is that, right? So that is why I love using Kappa. Not only the cost, because there's plenty of AI writing tools out there where you can use, your API key from OpenAI. But I really, really like the way this one works. With that, I don't know if it's called Power Editor or Power User. We'll look at that momentarily. It just gives you great content. You can also export these to your WordPress blog. You integrate that with Kappa as well. You do the same with Koala. Let's pop back over to Koala for a moment. So this has finished. It gives you the option to polish it, which helps with readability. I've not used that feature because I think it does take more of your, like monthly limits. I'm not really into that. Create draft is how you get it uploaded to your WordPress site. Details, it's pretty similar to what you see in Kappa, except, we're missing that word count, which I really, really hate. Let's see if we can get an idea here of what kind of word count we have. So this article is only 1,172 words. Like I said, after I finish recording this video, I will rerun this article using the exact same outline that I used, in Kappa, just so we can get a nice comparison. Okay, now the next thing I want to show you is using Koala to do one of those Amazon affiliate buying guides, just because I really, really love using it for that. And Kappa does not have an option for us to create a buying guide quite like you can do here in Koala. So let's go back to the Koala Writer page here. So we're just going to change our article type here to Product Roundup. Let's make our target keyword something like maybe best electric guitars. So if you don't target the US, you can select from the other Amazons right here. You can also change the number of products that you do. I like to select 3. The default is 5, but often I find 3 is enough. I don't want like crazy long articles anyway. So I pick 3 products here. I always leave first-hand experience, and when this article is done, you're going to see why, because it's going to be amazing. You put your Amazon tracking ID here. If you have a search URL, like a specific one that you want Koala to use, you can put that in here as well. I never do that. I just put in, the stuff that you've already seen and let it do its thing. So let me pause this and get my Amazon tracking ID in. Okay, I've got an ID in. It's a dummy ID because I didn't want you to see any real ones that I actually have. I leave my tone of voice the same, although we can actually change this to casual since it is supposed to be like a first-hand experience of this. Point of view is first person because we did select that we wanted it to enable that first person experience up here. Now you can change your point of view down here and leave the first person experience enabled. In my experience, when you do that, about half of the time you'll end up with half of the article first person point of view, and the other half of the time the other point of view that you have selected. I don't like to use facts for my buying guide, so I usually take that out. So let's just run the outline here and see what it shows us, because it will actually pick products for us to run with. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they are not. So what do we got here? What is probably not, honestly, the best guitar products for someone looking for an electric guitar. But this is just a test for you guys anyway, so let's run with it and see what happens. I also do want to take a moment to point out, while we are waiting on that Koala affiliate buying guide to run, pop back over here to Kappa because I want to show you, how much this costs, because you are going to be using your OpenAI API key for those dirt cheap articles like we just saw that I created. But unlike Koala, Kappa does have other fees involved. So for $150 a year, you get just a basic license to use Kappa. as you can see, that this gets you, presets, it gets you image generation, those DALL-E 3 images, and integration with WordPress. You can use this on as many sites as you own. And there is a 4-day free trial, so you can just sign up. I got the link in the description below. Sign up once you have your OpenAI API key. Take it for a test drive and see what you think. I do have that power user upgrade, so that is what you saw in my demonstration of the article creation. I definitely think it is worth it. It makes it as close to the Koala experience as possible, but in the end it ends up being cheaper because you can run as many articles basically as you can afford through your OpenAI API key. What the benefit of this power user upgrade on Kappa is that it gives you that access to the internet where you saw me pulling over the H2s and H3s that I wanted for my article. Like I said, that's the same experience you get when you're creating articles in Phrase. I think that is 100% worth this $50 a month fee. But by all means, try out, that base level 4-day free trial and see if that is enough, to work for you or not. Because if you have access to something like Phrase or Neuron Writer, you could create your outlines in that and then just upload those outlines direct to Kappa. Okay, then let's pop back over here to Koala and see how our buying guide is going. So we've got Best Electric Guitars, added the top picks for 2024 like we would do on our own. Looking through the intro here, I'm sorry. Like I said, Koala always writes the longest intros, but it's not terrible, right? It is just a bit long. I wouldn't say that it's super casual like we had asked for, but maybe as we look through, the actual reviews here. It does pull in the image from Amazon for you. So when you have that sent directly to your website, it is a clickable link out to Amazon with your, tracking ID and everything. Again, they always start with this little intro. Again, not as casual as I had hoped when I selected that point of view, but still pretty good. So this is why I love using Koala for these buying guides. The writing in first person, making it appear like they actually used the product. I think it's really great. In my experience, it converts really well on your website. And check this out, strapping on this. Come on, this is this is why it converts so well, right? Because it does have this first-hand user experience, and I have tried to get this from other AI tools, and you just can't get it. At least I've not been able to. The buying guide part's usually pretty basic. You're going to have things in here you're going to have to fix because it has those telltale signs of being AI. This particular sentence does seem a bit casual, so I do like seeing that output. You often get these little tables and stuff, but you don't always get them, so don't expect that every time. And then it just ends like this. So this would be one of those instances where I would do my conclusion by pulling something out of the intro here, because the intro is quite long, or I would just use something like ChatGPT to basically create a conclusion for this article. Okay, so you probably want to know what these articles look like in full, right? So you can get a real feel of which tool is going to be best for you and your needs. So I am going to, as soon as I finish this video, take these and export them to my website. It's going to be in some no indexed posts here because I don't want any Google crawling these or anyone seeing them who shouldn't be. Because obviously my site is not about electric guitars, right? So at the link you see here on the screen, I'll also put the link down here in the description of the video. You can go and you can look at each of the articles that I just ran here in this video, including the images that came from the tools, just to get a good idea of what to expect when you're using the tools on your own. Now, I will say if you are on a budget, any tool you can use where you're bringing in that API key from OpenAI, that is going to be your cheaper option. We saw, what was it, like 40 cents, I think it was, that article cost? Yeah, 38 cents for that article with 4 images from DALL-E 3. If I had more time on my hands than I do right now, I would probably not use the images in Kappa, but I would get that $10 a month Midjourney account because you can get better AI images from Midjourney, which I think you probably already know. If you're going to be doing a lot of affiliate content, 100% go for Koala. When you are buying that plan though, keep in mind that if you are using 4 Turbo, which I do recommend you use, it uses 2.5x the credits. So if you're looking at this here where you get, 1 million words, you're not really getting that many because, 1,000 words is actually going to be the value of 2,500, right? For that 2.5x. So keep that in mind when you are picking a plan. You're probably going to want to get one of these scale plans depending on how much output you're planning on doing. Keep in mind though, these word credits that you get each month, they expire. They don't roll over. So you have to make sure that you don't buy more than you can use. Now, before your month is up, you can change plans. So you're buying another plan, and that's the only way to have your Koala stuff roll over to the next month. You may end up like me and buy a plan larger than you need 1 month, and then you just keep having to roll over stuff for a few months, even though you don't really need it to be buying any new things. So just keep in mind that can happen. But for me, most of my stuff that I'm running these days is actually through Kappa, just because it's, the output is pretty great. The images look pretty good when you compare, them to Koala. And it's dirt cheap, so why not, right? I'm doing this for tons of testing. I'll put links down below to both of these tools, like I said, as well as a link to where you can go to view these actual articles on my site and check them out for yourself. I'm not going to edit out any of those words like crucial, that are the telltale signs of AI. So it's just going to be the raw output for you. Now, if you have any questions for me about either of these tools or any of the other tools that I have used, feel free to drop those in the comments below and I'll get to them when I can. I've used tons of tools like ZimWriter. For instance, I find that Kappa and Koala are the 2 best tools for my purposes and my portfolio of sites. And yes, even after HCU and all the de-indexing and this crazy core updates and spam updates that are happening, I still have AI content ranking and earning me money. So don't think that it's still not a viable option for you.